I accidentally pulled my wife's flowers, thinking they were weeds. Turns out that's not just a gardening mistake, that's a marriage lesson. Well, hey there, folks. Welcome back to the One-Eyed Podcast, where the coffee's strong and the stories are stronger, and sometimes the lessons come from things we probably should have asked for in the first place. I'm your host, Pappy Lozano, and this week, well, we're talking about weed pulling. Now, I know what you're asking. Pappy, you ran out of ideas, didn't you? No, sir. Because if you've ever spent a full week bent over in the yard, talking to yourself, negotiating with roots, and questioning your life decisions, you already know this ain't about weeds. This is about life, married, and how a man can accidentally destroy something beautiful with full confidence and zero supervision. Where does peace go? I don't even know what the heck I'm doing here.
Now, I've been out there all week. Just me and a pair of gloves that didn't fit right. And weeds that seem to have a stronger will to live than I do. And by about noon, well, I gotta tell you, there is something humbling about pulling weeds. You go out there thinking you're in charge, and about 20 minutes later, you're losing an argument with the dandelion. You ever notice how weeds don't grow where it's easy? Oh no, they don't show up in the bare dirt where you expect them. No, they gotta sneak in, right next to your best flowers, right in the middle of something you worked hard on. Like they got a map and a personal grudge. So there I am, down on one knee, looking at this patch of what I assumed was weeds. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Pappy, today's the day you take control of your yard. Now, any time a man says that, there's about a 60% chance he's about to make things worse. So I get pulling. Confident, focused, dedicated. I mean, I was on a roll, one after another, just yanking them up like I was settling old scores. And I remember thinking, man, I'm getting good at this. And that right there, that's the moment things usually take a turn. Now, about that time, I hear that familiar voice from behind me. What you doing, Pappy? And I didn't even turn around because I knew that tone. That's not a curious question. That's a supervised inspection. I said, just cleaning up these weeds, honey. Thought I'd help out. And there was a pause. Not a long one. Just long enough to make me wish I hadn't answered so confidently. And she walks over, takes a look, and says, Pappy. Now, when your wife says your name like that, that's not a greeting. That's a warning label. And she points down at what I had just pulled up and says, you know those weren't weeds, right? Now, I'll tell you something real honest. There are very few moments in a man's life where time just kind of slows down. And you replay your last decisions like you're watching your own highlight reel of bad judgment. And I looked down at this neat little pile of what used to be her flowers. Healthy, beautiful, very much not weeds. And I said, the only thing a man can say in that moment, well, they sure pulled me. And she looked at me. Didn't raise her voice. Didn't get upset. Which somehow made it worse. And she said, Pappy, those were the ones I planted last year. Now, I don't know if you've ever felt your confidence leave your body, but mine packed up, grabbed a suitcase, and left me right there in the yard. So I did what any reasonable man would do. I tried to explain myself. I said, well, now hold on. They were sitting right next to the weeds, kind of blended in. They looked suspicious. And she said, They were flowers, Pappy. And right there, ladies and gentlemen, I was officially enrolled in Weed Pullin 101, Advanced Marriage Edition. Now, lesson number 1, and I want y'all to write this down somewhere. Actually, preferably before you go outside. If you don't know what it is, don't pull it. And that's pretty much it. Simple, clear, life-saving advice. Because see, in a man's mind, we look at a yard like it's a problem to solve. We see things that don't belong. We take action. We fix it. But what we don't always realize is not everything that looks out of place is actually wrong. Sometimes it just ain't ours to decide. So I stood there, holding a handful of what used to be her hard work, and I said, well, I can replant them. And she gave me that look. You know that one, the one that says, you can try, but we both know this ain't gonna go how you think it is. And so I did. I got down there, started sticking them back in the dirt, trying to recreate what I had just, let's call reorganized. And I gotta tell you, there's nothing quite like trying to undo a mistake, while the person who warned you about it is standing right there watching. Now, to her credit, she didn't fuss, didn't lecture, just kind of shook her head and said, next time, Pappy, just ask. And there it was. Not a scolding, not a speech, just a simple truth. Just ask. And you know, I've been thinking about that all week. While I've been back out there carefully, very carefully, looking at every single thing before I touch it, and I realized something. We do this in life more than we'd like to admit. We rush in assuming we know what we're dealing with, confident we're fixing something, only to find out later we didn't understand it at all. Could be a project, could be a conversation, could be a moment with someone we care about. We think we're helping, but we didn't take the time to ask. Now don't get me wrong, I still pulled plenty of weeds this week. Real ones that fought back, ones that required strategy, ones that made me question if they had roots in another zip code. But I approached it different, slower, paying attention, and every now and then, I'd catch myself looking at a plant, and I'd hear her voice in my head, Pappy. And I'd just sit there, thinking, now is this a weed, or is this another lesson waiting to happen? And I'll tell you, that little pause, that moment of checking yourself, well, it saves you a whole lot of trouble. Now, I did ask her later, how do you tell the difference? And she said, you take the time to learn what you're looking at. Well, now, there's a thought. Not just in the yard, but in life. Maybe not everything needs to be handled right away. Maybe some things deserve a closer look. You know, a little patience and a little humility. And maybe, just maybe, a quick, hey honey, is this a weed? Now I ain't saying I got it all figured out. Far from it. I still got dirt under my nails. Still got a few spots in the yard that look, well, let's call them questionable. But I'll tell you this, I didn't pull up anything I wasn't sure about after that. That's growth right there. Might not look like much, but it's honest. And you know, there's something peaceful about being out there. Just you, the yard, and your thoughts. And you start realizing not everything in life needs to be perfect. Some things grow a little while. Some things take time. Some things you leave alone. And sometimes the best thing you can do is not pull, not fix, not rush, but just take a second and ask. Now, before I let you go, I'll give you one last piece of advice from this week's adventure. If your wife plants something, you treat it like it's got a name, a history, and possibly legal protection. All right, now it's time for Pappy's Practical Corner, where the advice is simple, the lessons are learned the hard way, and today's topic is weed pulling. Now, before you head out there feeling confident, let me save you a little time and possibly a conversation you don't want to have later. Step 1, and this is important. If you don't know what it is, don't pull it. I know, it seems obvious now, but out there in the yard, with a little confidence and a pair of gloves, a man can make some real bold decisions. So here's what you do. Take a second. Look at what you're about to grab, and if there's even a hint of doubt, you go find your wife or whoever planted it, and you ask. Now, step 2, get the root. Anybody can snap the top off a weed. Well, that's easy. But if you leave the root sitting there, that weed's coming back. Stronger, faster, and probably with friends. So don't rush it. Get down there, grab it close to the ground, and pull steady. Not angry, not like you're trying to win a fight, just patient. Because weed pulling ain't about strength, it's about follow through. Now, step 3, pick your time. Best time to pull weeds? Right after a good rain, or after you've watered the yard. That soil softens up, roots come out easier, and you won't feel like you're wrestling the earth itself. Now, step 4, don't try to do it all at once. You go out there saying, I'm going to clear this whole yard today. Next thing you know, you're tired, you're sore, and you start making bad decisions. That's when flowers disappear. So take your time. Do a little at a time. That yard ain't going anywhere. And finally, step 5, know when to stop. There comes a point when you've done enough for the day. And if you push past that, well, that's when mistakes happen. And that's when you start looking at perfectly good plants and thinking, yeah, you look suspicious. Don't do it. Go inside, get some water, sit down and admire what you didn't mess up. All right, folks, that's Pappy's Practical Corner for this week. Remember, weed pulling ain't just about cleaning up the yard. It's about slowing down, paying attention, and knowing when to ask before you act. And if this segment saved you from pulling up something important, well, then Pappy's done his job. Because I promise you, those just ain't flowers. That's time, effort, and a whole lot of care. And if you go yanking that up without permission, you ain't just pulling weeds. You're digging yourself a hole. Now, let's get back to the show. Because I promise you, those ain't just flowers. That's time, effort, and a whole lot of care. And if you go yanking that up without permission, you ain't just pulling weeds. You're digging yourself a hole. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this week here on the One-Eyed Podcast. Now, if today's episode made you smile or brought out a chuckle or maybe saved a flower or two in your own yard, then by all means share this episode with someone who could use a laugh today. They'll be forever grateful that you did. You know, my pappy used to tell me, when we learn to laugh, we learn to heal. And in the most amazing part of our week or day, someone hearing you laugh or seeing that smile just might be the cog in the wheel that gets it all started. And there is no higher service than passing on a better demeanor to others. Trust me. And so always remember to be kind to one another, if only because you can be. And we all can be always. Until then, take care of what's been entrusted to you. God bless the seeds that grow to be the basis of your flower bed. And God bless the patient hand that can grasp those pesky weeds without any risk of ending good beneficial butterfly and pollinators roosting angiosperms, also known as flowering plants. And God bless the United States of America. Pappy out.